Welcome to the Moodie Report e-Zine. I'm Martin Moody. This week's edition is packed with news and tinged with sadness. In the news section we look at the duty-free contract at Cairns Airport in Queensland, Australia, where Nuance began the week by issuing a statement saying that they wouldn't be submitting a bid for the duty-free contract there. Now that statement probably came as a little bit of a surprise, or certainly the timing of it did, to Cairns Airport, because the very next day they issued their own statement saying that JR Duty-Free had been named the recommended bidder for that contract and is likely therefore to take up the concession in the months ahead. An important gain that for JR Duty-Free. They are of course one of the great pioneers of Australian duty-free, Australasian duty-free in fact, very strong across the Tasman and New Zealand. And it's an important story for other reasons. Australia, we think, is all to play for as a market. It's a difficult duty-free market, a very hard one to make money, and Nuance has been losing money indeed there for some time. There's a number of other contracts that will come up in coming years. The most interesting one we think is Perth Airport in West Australia, where the airport company is currently deciding whether or not to put the business to tender or indeed to extend the agreement of the incumbent once against the Nuance Group. So very interesting scenario starting to take shape in Australia, and we cover that in our main feature story. Also in the contract news we go over to Atlanta, where Duty Free Americas has been named as the preferred bidder for the duty-free contract at Atlanta Airport. Very interesting story. Duty Free Americas of course has been there before. They were named as a successful bidder back in 2003, but lost out after one of the most contentious legal battles in US airport contract history. So they'll be hoping history doesn't repeat itself, but they'll also be delighted to be in the pole position as they are today. Now, I mentioned this issue being tinged with sadness. That's a reference to one of the great icons of our industry, and certainly of the beauty industry, Evelyn Lauder, who passed away in the last few days after a brave fight against cancer. What a woman she has been, in terms not only of the company's development but of her massive contribution to corporate social responsibility and the fight indeed against cancer. Rebecca Mann writes very movingly, I think, about Evelyn Lauder in this issue, and I think you'll enjoy that piece, but you'll also find it very sad. And finally, I just want to mention Everich Duty Free Shops Corporation in Taiwan. They were singled out at a national level in the past few days for their incredible contributions to charity, including the travel retail industry charity Hand in Hand for Haiti. They have been extraordinarily generous in recent times, and it's nice to see one of our industry's major players given such an accolade as they were. You can read all about it in this issue. So there's lots and lots to talk about. We won't be back next week. We're taking a break. We're off to the Middle East Duty Free Association Conference, MEDFA, in Dubai. So looking forward to seeing lots of you out there. I missed last year's event and I'm delighted to be back. And MEDFA, I think it's promising a record attendance. Business continues to boom in the Middle East, and we're sure it's going to be another very successful event. So see some of you in Dubai, but we hope that all of you enjoy this week's edition of the Moodie Report e-Zine. I'm Martin Moody.